And it doesn't take much, and we're all human. No one is perfect. We all make our own mistakes, and that's okay. It's, it's taking the mistakes that we make and choosing to do differently because of them. Mm-hmm. So I think that all of us in whatever field that we're in and the things that we do, we all have such a great opportunity to just be good and, live with intention and do good things and do our best to make a positive impact on the people around us.
Hi, I'm Steven Racek, one of the owners and coaches here at Forge Fitness. A lot of people ask, what do we do here? Well, we focus on your longevity, meaning we focus on your health and the quality of your life as you age. So by the time you get to the end of your life, we want you to be able to do things that you want to do and enjoy. We take a lot of pride in the community that we've built, knowing that our members come for a great workout, but they stick around because of the community and friendships that they have. If interested in joining us at Forge, we offer a 7-day free trial. And you can find us at www.forgefitness.co, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Hey everybody, it is another episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast. We've got Tara Gesy, owner of Adventure Bowls here in Buffalo. Thank you for coming in and making time for us today, and we're going to jump right into it. They've probably seen your truck around, but let's do like a 30,000-foot view. Who are you? What's Adventure Bowls?
All right, I'm Tara. I obviously own Adventure Bowls. We have 2 food trucks at the moment, and it is just a healthy, fast casual option. I originally owned a wellness center before this, and I was really passionate about changing lives through fitness. But part of that, the biggest part of that is actually, what you're able to eat and what you put in your body. So COVID hit just 6 months after I opened my first business.
Perfect.
And it was a great time.
Shoot.
But long story short, that gave me the really wide scale view that people can work out wherever they want, but if they don't have healthy options, they can't make them. So 90% of my clients were diabetic, 1 or 2. They had specific allergies, peanut, tree nut, artificial number dyes, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, or soy-free, or a mix of all of those things. So when I looked at the market and asked myself what I wanted to do, acai bowl seemed like a great option for that. Mm-hmm. And I took the initiative to make sure it was in something that was in my control. So I put them in food trucks instead of brick and mortars, and that's all we'll ever be.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, the bowls, I think some people are familiar with it. If they're not, expand a little bit on acai bowls. So break that down just a little bit to educate the...
For sure. They're pure fruit sorbets on the bottom. So they're going to provide that vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free option. Some places will offer them with dairy, so it's almost more of like a frozen yogurt type of situation, but that's actually what it scoops like. So although it is a pure fruit sorbet, it still scoops like an ice cream. Sure. It just doesn't have the added things in it. And then we source something different about Adventure Bowls is we source all of our ingredients from top to bottom only from U.S., Minnesota and locally made companies. So everything that we buy supports jobs in the United States. And every company that we source from, they have owner-operators that are involved like myself. So they're woman-owned or family-owned and operated.
That's good.
Yeah.
Pretty passionate behind that, of the entrepreneurial spirit of not just the Adventure Bowls part, but actually the business structure too of businesses supporting businesses.
Yep, you gotta. It is about small communities. When I look at the big picture of what Adventure Bowls has become in just 3 short seasons, we run only 7 months a year. That is from small communities that show up at my windows and support us nonstop. Mm-hmm. So it's important for me to give back in the best ways that I can, and it teaches my employees to do the same thing.
Sure.
Awesome. You mentioned kind of transitioning from, fitness industry.
Yep.
And kind of going into the food portion of the nutrition. That was the word I was searching for. So, what led to that change? Going from where you were to where you are now.
So the biggest thing for me was that I actually used to be 214 pounds. So I spent most of my life morbidly obese. At 23, my primary physician told me that I needed to do something about my health, and that was just a really big eye-opener for me. So I live on a flexible dieting. There is everything in moderation, but the problem is a lot of people aren't educated on food, and when they are attempting to be educated, there are so many falsifications. You look at social media, you look at magazines, you read books, and you just really want to know what to believe. And I wanted something simple that allowed people to just recognize that healthy food can taste good, because there are so many things you can do with just like small swaps that can make a giant impact on your overall health. And so the nutrition side of things, for the longest time, was why I was overweight, and I didn't understand that. And so now it's something that I can do, that just a few things I can mention or notably show people that healthier foods, just they can be good for you and they can taste good, and you don't have to be so overwhelmed by that change.
What's like one big change, like if somebody's listening right now, just like you could really swap this and it won't affect your life one bit, except it'll just make you feel better?
Yeah, take your favorite thing, the thing you're most afraid of giving up. Truthfully, for me, that was donuts. I am a donut connoisseur. Have it one day a week. If you can hit your goals or be very close to those goals, reward yourself just one day a week. I literally call it Donut Fridays. I go to Moon Donuts.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your favorite donut?
Just a good old glazed donut.
Okay.
Yeah.
A raised glazed donut.
That's the one.
Love it.
Everything in moderation. I would just tell everybody, be mindful. Do you drink a lot of soda? Drink a diet soda. It isn't going to kill you, truthfully. So those little swaps, a full-fat yogurt, have maybe a low-fat yogurt. That's going to be 60 calories in one serving. So it's just little things like that. You don't really recognize that just calorie content-wise, which is what makes up weight gain or loss, is very easy to change.
So when you're at the doctor and you get kind of punched in the face with some brutal honesty, right? You leave the doctor and you go, I need to make some changes. I need to educate myself. Like, how did you go about like taking this feedback and then learning and applying it?
I did it the wrong way. I was super uneducated at the time, and so I was just truthfully afraid. I mean, when you're 23 and your doctor calls you morbidly obese, the first thing you do is cry, and the second thing you do is panic. And I went home and I literally threw away everything that was in a box. So I cut out alcohol, I cut out packaged foods. I was pretty much eating like meat and vegetables, some fruit, and like a low-fat yogurt. I lost weight super abruptly, so 84 pounds in 6 months. And then you learn the back end of that, which is protein is king. You want to have the protein that gives you the lean structure that you're looking for. And then just being mindful, like getting to the gym and lifting weights is great. So many people are intimidated by it. They're not 100% sure. And then I started reading. Like, the internet is amazing because all of us right now can literally get on and we can learn anything about any subject, and it costs us literally nothing. I started reading books. I started following people with the mindset that not everybody is going to do what maybe is best for me, but it's still information I can take in. So I just read books and I listened to podcasts, and I went to the gym and I started just watching what other people were doing, and that's kind of the history.
That's awesome.
That is great.
So what sparked the entrepreneurial spirit? That's tough to say, even harder to spell. Entrepreneurial spirit.
To be honest, it was my dad. So I lost my dad 9 years ago. Growing up, he was always into business. He definitely had a spirit of wanting to do something, and he would just go do it. And he was in insurance sales, so he could literally talk to anybody at any time. And I kind of was the odd duck out. I was not book smart, but I was always really engaged with people and watching what they did. And a lot of the people that I was surrounded by growing up owned businesses, and I nannied for most of them, to be honest, and I was able to see these lifestyles that they were living by having the flexibility and freedom of owning their own companies. And that, alongside of my family, it was just something that I really enjoyed, and just where I ended up landing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And before we got started here today, we kind of go through the outline and how we're going to kind of navigate this podcast. But, one thing you really talked about, and that kind of ties in with your motivation for owning and running your own business, is just what drives you as a person and what you're passionate about outside of running a food truck.
Yep.
Right? There's more to it. There's a bigger why there.
Yeah.
Let's pick that apart a little bit.
So for me, everything in my life right now, especially since becoming a business owner, is doing the right thing for the right reason, even when it's not easy. And that can be unpacked in a lot of different ways, but the reality is that Adventure Bowls was my passion. It is my passion, but it's turned into more than just being passionate about healthy food options for all. It's about being a small business that gives back to the communities that we visit. It's about putting my employees first and teaching them what it means to have personal excellence, personal responsibility, how to show up and do your job. And most importantly, it's about teaching them that they can literally go out and do whatever they want to do, because that's what makes the world a better place. When I'm not in the trucks, I know 100% every single girl at my window is providing the same value and the same morals and ethical standards that I am. And that's so important to encourage. And I just think it's something that's really been lacking, especially recently. And so my job as a business owner is to put the customers first. But the only way I can do that is by having a team that knows the same values and ethics. So, when you own a business, it is hard. You're presented with a lot of different things. People will come for you because you maybe have the same idea, or you did it just a little bit different, or you run into an instance where a customer comes to the window and they're not super happy. So is the customer always right? How do you address things like that? Real life scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is, for me, the last 3 years, I've been so fortunate. Every girl that I've hired, Adventure Bowls is all women, and that's strictly because the trucks are so small. To have men and women in the truck, there's not enough space to pass by. So a lot of people ask that. That's why. But I've been very fortunate. Every girl that's worked for me since I opened 3 years ago still works for me today. Mm-hmm. So
nice.
It just speaks a lot about the company as a whole, what they're doing. They enjoy it. They enjoy coming to work and the things that they're learning. Being a business owner is not easy. You are a jack of all trades. You wear every hat. And most days you feel like you're failing. And my employees are definitely the biggest testament to me on the days that are hard to say I'm doing at least one thing right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The passion that you're speaking with right now, is that something you've always had? Or, does it go back to your dad passing away? A lot
of it, I would say, yes, from my dad passing away. I have a business degree, and I also have a degree in accounting. So I was working in finance at the time that he died. And I'll never forget it. I got the call. I was the one that got the call. I was at work that day, and someone drove me home. The weekend passed, and my employer called me and told me I had 3 days to come back to work or I didn't have a job. And that for me was enough to be like, I'm just a number here. And if I died tomorrow, they would literally just,
your job would be posted.
That would be it. Yep. And I get it, because businesses have to run, they have to function. But I have never felt something so disingenuous than I felt that day. And so I told myself whatever I did next, I would never make somebody feel the way that I felt that day. Mm-hmm. And that really is the driving factor to all things Adventure Bowls, and it's not just about my employees, it's about the people who come to our windows that we have seen now for 3 consecutive years, or the people you don't know, but you can just tell that they're not having a good day. So taking the extra 30 seconds to say, hey, how are you? And just smile at them, or to know that a customer that you've seen for 3 years, they reach out because they need help and they don't know how to ask. Mm-hmm. So it really is, for me, the passion behind Adventure Bowls is literally, how do I make the world a better place? I know I'm really small, and I know that my, group of employees is also fairly small in the big scheme of things, but it only takes one person and one good decision to do good for someone else. And that really is how I live my life.
And then they do something, they take that.
Yes.
And then it just,
the
spiderweb
effect.
That's right.
Butterfly effect. Yeah. Spiderweb.
Same thing.
It's contagious.
Yes.
It's contagious.
It is. And it doesn't take much. And we're all human. No one is perfect. We all make our own mistakes, and that's okay. It's, it's taking the mistakes that we make and choosing to do differently because of them. Mm-hmm. So I think that all of us, in whatever field that we're in and the things that we do, we all have such a great opportunity to just be good and, live with intention and do good things and do our best to make a positive impact on the people around us.
Yeah. I love the passion. you do volunteer in some of the similar circles that we're in as well, which is great. You know, the young entrepreneurs, you know, outside of Adventure Bowls, and I know that you run for 7 months, and my guess is that 7 months is cram packed full.
Yeah.
If you have free time, what do you like to do?
I am an aunt to 5, so I have 2 nieces and 3 nephews, and they are my whole world. I love them. I've got 1 here in Minnesota, the other 4 with my brother and his wife in Texas. So I will be headed to Texas for 2 weeks here next week. And outside of that, I love to volunteer, anything athletic or outside. So snowboarding, skiing, you'll catch me at the gym. And then outside of those things, I love to travel. I love to see new places. And it's just about the people that you meet, you know. I love just being out and doing things. I'm not super good at sitting still.
Sure.
So
that's why you're in trucks, not brick and mortar.
It does help. Yeah, you see a lot of new places and you're never bored, that's for sure. Yeah.
What's on your travel bucket list?
The biggest one right now is Ireland and Aruba. So I'm hoping in the next Adventure Bowls turned 3 this year. Well, we hit season 3, so I'm hoping year 5 to do one of those trips and see what it's like. But
very fun.
Yeah, that's great. You know, a lot of people watching this have probably seen your trucks around town.
Yeah.
But I would imagine the community of Buffalo isn't able to keep you so busy that you don't venture outside of the city limits, or so you're kind of all over Wright County, all over the area.
So Adventure Bowls kind of was planned when I built Adventure Bowls, and I'm pretty transparent about this. I had a one-track mind of franchising. I wanted 1,200 trucks on the road in 10 years. That was my goal. So the first year I opened my first truck, I got my trademark, I got my franchise attorney, I bought my second truck 8 months later, and that kind of just blew up. And we were super busy. With growth comes growing pains, and I learned in the last 3 years, and my favorite thing to share, and I've learned this from a few books and podcasts I listen to, is, if you're pursuing something just for financial gain, it isn't going to work. When you're pursuing it for passion and to make a positive impact on people, that's when it works. Well, my second truck actually got struck by lightning last summer, this year. Super random, and really an act of God is what they call it. And so I was down to only 1 truck this year, and it was a really big eye-opener for me. So we have kind of focused on 1 truck, but that also adjusted the places that we go. So we do Bemidji, as far north as Bemidji, once a month. We go for a weekend a month. And I have friends and family up there that help run the truck and work the truck since it is such a commute. So that's the furthest north we go. And then we'll go all the way down to Rochester, parts of Wisconsin, and then we were invited to Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota this year. So
to book you, I mean, is it they're calling to book you, or is it?
It's a little bit of everything. So someone will hear word of mouth and they'll call. We get asked for a lot of fairs, like fairs and festivals. The 3 big fairs we do are Wright County, Carver County, and McLeod County in this area. And those have been just great, consistent events for us and like our busiest demographics, I would say. And once people see us at fairs and festivals, we get a lot of calls for those, which are generally out of state. But it just gets to be, it's preference, I guess. You know, when you make the commitment to be out of town like that, it's a lot to ask of my employees. My youngest employee, she's now 15, and then up to 23, and some of them just kind of fill in here or there. But we try to stay more local, do good around here. The money that we give back, or the portion of our sales that we give back, they go to a company called, or nonprofit called in Minnesota called Big City Mountaineers. So the profits we give back, they take kids to the Boundary Waters here every year. And by keeping the sales that we're doing here, it better suits where I want that money to go. When I get into other states, there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel more inclined to be giving back to the places that we're going, and it's hard when you're bouncing around.
Yep.
Do you anticipate growing outside of, maybe get truck 2 back on the road? Or further, or what's next for Tara?
So Adventure Bowls is right now just good. It's great. Yeah. I love where it is. I love what we're doing. I love the team that I have. but I don't actually have plans for its growth right now. I really this year was able to step back and say sometimes less can be more. I feel really called in what I'm doing. My passions, my purpose in the kingdom, like I feel very passionate about where I'm going and how to cultivate that. There's a few other things in the wheelhouse that I'm working on outside of Adventure Bowls.
What are they in detail?
Please, yeah. Breaking news,
Okay.
everybody.
Luke, write this down. Write this down.
I can give you one. No, it's okay. It's a little bit of accountability. I am writing a couple of books called The Adventures of the Fruit Bus, and they are kids correlated books on really what I talked about, doing the right things for the right reasons, in a very, literate fashion for young kids. But my nieces and nephews love to learn, and when I look at the books I want to buy for them, I just didn't really see anything that I loved, and so I was like, well, what a fun
Just make one
idea. So once you're an entrepreneur, you are kind of like this. If you get too bored, you're like, oh, what else can I do?
Yeah. Are you going to name any of the characters after them?
I was considering it, but I'm actually hoping some of my employees will let me name the characters after them.
Oh, that's fun.
So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. It's great to get to know more of the backstory. Is there anything that we're missing for all 250,000 of our viewers?
No, I think this is great. I've loved watching the episodes that you guys have. I really appreciate that you keep it local. Podcasts are so incredible because they do touch so many people, and I have been inspired by podcasts in the past. So, I appreciate that you ask, like, when we were running through the list, what's it about you outside of your business that makes you tick? And those are the things I think if people were more transparent about, people would be more inclined to pursue something that is meaningful to them. So thanks for asking the good questions.
Yeah. And that's our clip right there. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, Tara, thanks again for coming in. Good luck with the ventures in the future and this next coming up season. And of course, the traveling in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. We'll see you around. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reese.
I'm Mark Benzer.
Tara Gesy.
Nailed it.
That was...
We really should.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlin Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.